Good day, everyone. My name is Stacey Sottile. Welcome back to The Advocate, the Power of Your Voice. This is episode 2, and before we get started, I'd like to thank all of the people who watched and supported episode 1 of our program. It was amazing to debut this show in September 2025, with September being International Sickle Cell Awareness Month. The Advocate, the Power of Your Voice, is a podcast designed to discuss all things related to sickle cell disease and advocacy. For those unaware, sickle cell is a genetic, life-threatening blood disease. It affects the red blood cells by changing their shape from round and circular to a crescent sickle shape. Symptoms include severe pain, increased infections, organ failure, stroke, and a shortened lifespan. Even me, your host, Stacey Sottile, is affected. I was diagnosed at 11 months old, and I'm defeating the odds by living way past my predicted lifespan. In fact, I recently celebrated my 54th birthday a few days ago. Let's big up the birthday girl. Thank you to everybody who sent out birthday wishes. But let's get back to the matter at hand. As I once stated, living with sickle cell can be very challenging. Some of the topics that we will talk about on The Advocate may cause sadness. However, most sickle cell warriors that I know do not want to be pitied. Instead, we want to be understood. It is my hope that by launching this program, it will bring awareness to this invisible disease and teach folks how to advocate for themselves or their loved one who may have a chronic illness, such as sickle cell. Along the journey to educate the public, we will engage in serious discussions and also have lighthearted talks. We plan to bring forth interesting guests, like my first guest from episode 1, Brother Fatin Muhammad. A big shout out to Brother Fatin, who gave an amazing interview. Fatin is an Emmy Award-winning radio producer who works with Reverend Al Sharpton. And on episode 1 of The Advocate, the Power of Your Voice, he talked about being a caregiver advocate for his late wife, Sharon Hanifa Simmons. We plan to bring you more interviews such as that, and also with subject matter experts, people in the medical field, warriors like me, caregivers, and anyone else who can shine a light on sickle cell awareness and advocacy. Today, as we are in post-Sickle Cell Awareness Month, I would be remiss not to discuss and share some of the wonderful efforts folks around the globe participated in to highlight sickle cell anemia. As an advocate myself, Sickle Cell Awareness Month is a very busy time for me. I recorded a couple of videos on Facebook Live. By the way, for the viewers, my handle for Facebook is Stacey Mason Sottile. That's Stacey Mason, M-A-S-O-N, Sottile. That's Sottile. Well, one interesting prompt that I posed to my social media followers that I thought was worthy enough to ponder on this podcast is the idea of wishing someone happy Sickle Cell Awareness Month. I was told by someone that it is improper to say Happy Sickle Cell Awareness Month. As a person stated to me, there is nothing happy about sickle cell. I don't want to spend too much time on this, as you can find the full video on my social media. However, I want my new podcast family to give that concept a little thought. What do you say? Is it not proper to say Happy Sickle Cell Awareness Month? Here's my thought. Having sickle cell, yes, it's nothing to smile about. It's a horrible illness that can affect your entire body. Everywhere the blood flows can be harmed by the sickle-shaped red blood cells. The pain is so excruciating that it has been compared to that of childbirth. Then there's the fatigue, leg ulcers, and a variety of debilitating symptoms. To add icing to the cake, there's also the mental health struggles from dealing with the many stigmas and misconceptions of this condition. On a sidebar, please note, viewers, we will also discuss the stigma of sickle cell on this program as well. Well, surviving with sickle cell for over 5 decades, nobody needs to convince me on how bad this chronic disease is for myself and for my family, who also deal with the pain of seeing me suffer. But I'm going to explain to you why I choose to celebrate and say Happy Sickle Cell Awareness Month. Here's 2 reasons why, and I'm sure with time I can come up with many more. Number 1 is the fact that we even have a month chosen to pay homage. Sickle cell is a leader in disparities, yet unlike Black History Month, we weren't shortchanged by appointing our month of recognition to the shortest month on the calendar. With that, I'm happy just for that. But my second reason is I'm happy to celebrate the progress and the advancements, such as more public awareness, more interest in sickle cell disease as a whole, gene editing, apheresis treatment, additional medications, blood donors for those who receive life-saving blood transfusions, and new treatment centers that are being built and created just for sickle cell patients. That right there is a lot for me to be happy about. So, whether you decide to say Happy Sickle Cell Awareness Month or not, let's just smile as we celebrate some of the things I just shared with you on why I'm happy to say it. As we move on to our next topic, here's a few notable clips from social media of people recognizing September 2025, Sickle Cell Awareness Month. I'm Stacey Sottile. Thank you for listening to The Advocate, the power of your voice. Welcome back to The Advocate, the power of your voice. I'm Stacey Sottile, the host for this program. This again is our second episode. I am delighted to have our viewers join us again on our podcast created to discuss sickle cell disease and advocacy. Those are the two subject perimeters of the podcast. However, we have plenty of serious to silly and hopeful to haunting issues to speak on, with various special guests to learn from and support. Backup. If you're wondering if you heard me correct, yes, I said hopeful to haunting. Haunting. Well, it is that time of the year. Fall is here, and in October, many people love to indulge in the scary, frightening, playful time of Halloween. Yet one thing that should never be frightening for you is that of going to the emergency room when you're in pain and seeking help from medical professionals. However, my next guest created an entire social media film series of her sharing just that, which she calls Hospital Horror Stories. Let's welcome her to tell us all about it and more. Thank you to Shabreon Howard for joining us today on The Advocate, the power of your voice. Shay, as she is affectionately called, name may sound familiar. Shay was featured on episode 1 of our program on our Sicklexcellor segment. We decided to bring her back for part 2. As she is such a talented warrior, we could not put a cap on all of that she does in her role as warrior advocate. This young lady is a published author, poet, filmmaker, and mother of a beautiful preteen, and so much more. I'll let her tell you all about it herself as we bring on Shabreon Howard. This is North Shore TV Studios. You used to live in Queens. No, you were born in Queens, but you were just a baby. You never lived in New York in your adult life, right? Have you? Shay?
Oh, no, I have never been to New York. I'm from LA.
Oh, I thought you, I don't know who I got you confused with. I thought you were like born in New York and then you moved to the West Coast.
No, I actually have never been to New York. I've always wanted to go to New York.
Oh.
That's like one of the places I really wanted to go to. But I haven't been yet.
Oh, wow. That's so weird. I don't know who I got you mixed up with, but maybe I'm just bringing you closer to me on purpose.
I see that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I thought you, okay.
Yeah,
So,
been trying to get me out there for years so we could have a whole, like, vacay.
That would be nice, yes, when the weather's warm. Mm-hmm. Not in the winter.
In the summer.
How are you today, Shay? How's everything?
I'm pretty good, you know.
Yes.
As long as I wake up on this side of the earth, I can't complain.
Yeah, well, I'm so happy to have you today, and I know you're in transit, and you just, you always come through for me. And I wanted to have you on as a part 2 because we discussed you in our first episode, and there's so much more to discuss. So I'm just going to ask you, can you briefly tell our viewers some of the ways you use your God-given gifts to be a blessing to the sickle cell community and advocate for us as sickle cell warriors?
Yeah, of course. I was blessed to have a very creative mind. I'm an author. I have a book. I call it my love letter to the sickle cell community. It is a sickle cell, excuse me. It is a sickle cell love story, and it is called Shapes. I'm also the author of a self-care, you know, self-awareness, excuse me, self-awareness workbook. And I created it for the kids group that I have for kids who are dealing with sickle cell, whether they have sickle cell or their parents have sickle cell. It's a virtual support group that my daughter hosts and I facilitate, and I created that workbook with them in mind, and it's for all ages, honestly. I also am the editor-in-chief and writer on a sickle cell magazine called The Warrior Crisis. I have a documentary series called A Warrior's Life.
I know there's a laundry list of things. I know.
Yes.
That's great, but this is the
creating
first time
events.
I'm hearing of the children's group. What is the name of the children's group? And can you talk a little more about that?
Oh yeah, it's called the Village Kids. So I believe we established that in 2022. Yeah, and basically, I wanted to have a space for kids to all, just come together. Honestly, it started with the idea because my daughter, she was in communication with a couple of my friends who are also Warriors kids, and I seen how the positive impact it had on all of them, especially, to be able to have people who understood exactly what they were going through. Just having parents who are dealing with sickle cell, and they're actually having to deal with sickle cell by default because they are our kids. And one of my friends' kids, because I was talking about doing a support group for adults, and he was like, well, what about the kids? And so with that, I just decided, hey, let's do it. And my daughter has been such a blessing. She has definitely, done a great job with hosting. It's been a little while since we've had a meeting. Actually, we need to do another one, but I've done pizza parties for them. We did a holiday party for the kids. And it's just, a great time whenever we get to have these meetings virtually.
Oh wow, it sounds like a great time, and that's one of the many things that I admire about you is that you teach your daughter a lot about sickle cell. Like, she is on front lines for you in so many ways, and that's really important. She's actually your caregiver, and as well as you taking care of her, when needed. So that's one of the things that really is great, because you're teaching her, and now you're teaching other young people about being active in a sickle cell community. And that's a thing that's unique to you. And my second question is, what are some of the things as an advocate that you consider that's unique for you in doing your role as an advocate? And when I wrote this question, let me just say this, when I wrote this question, I had something in mind that I wanted you to touch on. and that's your lineage to sickle cell as far as, you know, it goes. I'll let you talk more about it with your family and your mom.
Oh yeah, so I believe my story, it's I mean, there are other people in the community who are, you know, who have parents who have sickle cell, but not very many. I happen to be one of them. My mother passed away from complications of sickle cell when I was 7 years old, and she was 25, so she was relatively young. And you know, she taught me a lot before she did pass away. She was my blueprint to deal with this whole illness. So that is what, to me, my story and my lineage and how I, you know, I'm so passionate about what I do for my advocacy, because I know that she didn't get to express her creativity and her voice specifically, you know, for the benefit or the education and awareness of the community and beyond, which is people who don't know what sickle cell is. So whenever, you know, I'm out, whenever I can talk about and educate people, I do. And it also happens in some of the randomest, weirdest places sometimes, but
I
I have,
see.
you know, the benefit of educating myself to the point where I can go out and educate others. So that's also a blessing of mine for this community.
Awesome. And you know, you stated expressing your creativity. And when I think of a creative person and a warrior, those two just mesh together so well for you as a writer and all the writing that you do. And we touched on your film series, Hospital Horror Stories. So what was your idea to create that? What was behind the idea for you to start that?
Well, I just wanted people to know that, you know, they're not alone, because it can feel very lonely having sickle cell and dealing with, you know, the mistreatment in hospitals. It happens everywhere. And a lot of the times when we're in the moment, we can talk about it, but, you know, anything past that, we kind of try to get over it and get to the next part of our lives. But sometimes we have to go back and talk about these things, because I know that I don't necessarily let any like mistreatment go when it comes to my care. I know how to file complaints. I know how to, you know, take it to where there's actual consequences for the mistreatment that medical professionals tend to give sickle cell patients just based off of prejudice or, you know, believing that we're not worth saving. So I just wanted to prove that we are, and stand in solidarity and tell those stories, but not just tell those stories, also offer solutions to when you have those type of misfortunes happen. You know, it's never okay. And as much as you want to just, you know, go on with your life and move past it, it's not going to create a better environment for you in the long run. So it's helpful to report these people and file complaints and knowing how to do so.
Wow.
So that's what started the series.
That's really brave of you to, you know, to go to those lengths. And I just want to bring the podcast family in on. I mentioned I mentioned along this episode that in moving forward and the advocate, the power of your voice, we will be talking about stigmas in the sickle cell community. And what Shay is referring to is a lot of time we go into the hospital in pain crisis we're not always treated like we should be treated with quality, unbiased care. So for those people who may be wondering, you know, some of the mistreatment you're referring to, and I know you have to get moving. So just before you leave, is there anything else you want to say before we go? And or if you want to just wave a goodbye and thank you for joining us, I appreciate it.
I just want to thank you for providing this outlet, and for also just always supporting me and my efforts. I truly appreciate you, and you deserve your flowers, honestly, because, you know, I know how hard this life is just to live it, but you don't just live it, you thrive. So thank you for all that you did.
Oh, wow. And back at you. In the name of Shay's book, again, books with an S, is Shapes. And what is the workbook that you're doing with the kids?
I cannot remember the name. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. But where can people find you? You want to drop your social media handle, and perhaps they can find more information there.
Yes, you can find me on Facebook at Shabreon Howard. I'm on TikTok as Chef Shay Made It.
Chef
You
Shay
can find
Made
me on
It.
Instagram at Shabreon the Advocate. And from there, you know, just go ahead. You could Google me at Shabreon Howard. My books should pop up. I also have Ride or Die out on Barnes & Noble. And
Ride or Die on Barnes & Noble. Okay.
And on Amazon as well. So you can also look up Shabreon Howard on Amazon, and all my books will pop up there as well.
Awesome. Keep doing what you do. Keep that big smile on your face, and your daughters as well. Love you over here. Thank you, Shabreon Howard, for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
You too.
All right.
Kisses. That was Shabreon Howard on The Advocate, The Power of Your Voice. This has been another wonderful episode of our program coming to an end. I'm looking forward to growing with you guys even more and teaching you more about sickle cell awareness and advocacy. I'm your host, Stacey Sottile.